The best duo for every NBA team going into the 2025-2026 NBA season. We're going to be looking at all 30 teams, every player, and finding the best two players on the team that make up the best duo. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks, I got Trae Young and Kristaps Porzingis. Jalen Johnson makes a very good argument to take Kristaps' place and arguably could take his place this upcoming season, but for now I'm going to give the nod to KP and the All-Star Trae Young, and of course former All-Star Kristaps as well, who look to have a comeback season in Atlanta and help them make the playoffs. The Boston Celtics, I should mention this list is based on no injuries, so I have Tatum and Brown. Pretty obvious duo, I would say, for the Celtics. The Brooklyn Nets, so I have Michael Porter Jr. and the recently re-signed Cam Thomas. I would say these two are definitely the best players on the team. Maybe they don't make the best duo in terms of both are non-passers, both are just score first, really not defensive guys, but I would still go with Cam Thomas and MPJ. The Charlotte Hornets, I got LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Miles Bridges could make a good argument for this spot, but I'll go with LaMelo, obviously the best player, and then Brandon Miller, who had an injury-riddled season last year, but will look to have a very strong third year. The Chicago Bulls, I went with Kobe White and Nikola Vucevic. Kobe White, he just averaged 20. Vucevic, last year he dropped, I think it was around 20 and 10. Very good efficiency from three as well. I would still say those are the two best players. I'll take Josh Giddey could make a good argument, but I think I still need to see a bit more from him. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Evan Mobley though could definitely take Garland's place. In my opinion, this season I could see him take Garland's spot. I'm a big fan of Mobley, so I could definitely see this season Mobley taking that. But for now, I'll go with Mitchell and Garland. The Dallas Mavericks, I would say pretty easy. It's Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Cooper Flag is still, a rookie, so you go with the two obvious Hall of Famers. Denver Nuggets, I would say, is pretty easy as well. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. They've arguably been a top 3 duo in the NBA the last 5 seasons. Their pick and roll game is unstoppable, and this season is no different. They go into the season as the best duo on the Nuggets. The Detroit Pistons, now this is where it gets interesting. So obviously I got Cade Cunningham. He is the best player on the team. And the duo I decided to go with him was actually Jaden Ivey. I was thinking Tobias Harris, I was thinking Jalen Duren, but instead I went with Jaden Ivey, who had a pretty good last season before he got injured. And I think he's going to come out this season having a very strong season and showing that he should be in the backcourt with Cade full time. The Golden State Warriors, it's pretty obvious as well. Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, one of the more older duos in the NBA, but still Hall of Famers, All-Star players going into the season. Houston Rockets, the newly acquired Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun are the best duo on the Rockets. Sengun, All-Star last year, Kevin Durant, Hall of Famer, and they look to go in to be championship favorites next season. Indiana Pacers, of course, no injuries. Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. Last season, they showed why they are one of the better duos in the NBA, making it all the way to the NBA Finals. The Los Angeles Clippers, I went with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. James Harden was just an all-star last year. He looked to continue that momentum this upcoming season. And Kawhi Leonard, of course, still the best player on the Clippers. A good argument could be made for Zubac, but I would still go with Harden and Kawhi. The Los Angeles Lakers, pretty easy one as well. It would be Luka and LeBron. LeBron, one of the greatest players of all time, with the up-and-coming Luka Doncic, who's already just at 26, 27, an amazing player. And they're going to go into their first season together doing training camp and have a full season together to see what they could do. The Memphis Grizzlies, the best duo still is Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson, who go into next season without Desmond Bane. Look to have more shots and more opportunity to score between them two. Ja will look to have a comeback season following a pretty injury-riddled and poor season in Ja's standard last season, with Jaren Jackson continuing his defensive excellence. Miami Heat, I would go with Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo. Tyler Herro was just first-time All-Star last season. He's going to look to continue that momentum this season, as well as Bam Adebayo, the defensive anchor for the Heat, as well as a former All-Star. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well as the newly acquired Miles Turner. And Miles Turner is basically like a better version of Brook Lopez. He got better shooting or maybe similar shooting, but you can still shoot the lights out, get blocks. Not the best rebounder, just like Lopez, but definitely Miles Turner and Giannis are going to make an amazing front court and arguably the best front court in the NBA. The Minnesota Timberwolves, it's Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. They showed the world that last season they could make it work, making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and they're going to look to carry that momentum this season. The New Orleans Pelicans, I went with Zion Williamson and Trey Murphy. So the argument could be made for Jordan Poole, but I decided to go with Trey Murphy. I feel like he has more potential, and given more opportunities to Trey Murphy this season, he could come out averaging 22, 23, shooting amazing efficiency. And with this pairing with Zion, I think they're going to make a great combo. The New York Knicks is pretty obvious. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. They had an amazing season last year, both of them making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're going into their second season together, more chemistry, more reps under them. And they're going to look to be one of the better duos this season. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I went with Shea and J-Dub. I guess some people could argue for Chet over J-Dub, but I think you got to give it to J-Dub. He just was an all-star, made all defensive team. Clearly the second best player on the Thunder. Shea and J-Dub go into this season as one of the better defensive duos in the NBA and look to repeat as champions. Orlando Magic is Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. I guess some people could say Desmond Bane, but Wagner and Paolo, due to the limited amount of games played last season due to injury, they were amazing in those small few amount of games they played, hoping for a healthy season for both of them to show the NBA what an amazing duo they are. The Philadelphia 76ers, it's Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Both of them look to make a comeback for the Sixers, hoping to reach the playoffs. Of course, hoping that Joel Embiid can play a healthy season. The Phoenix Suns, a very weird pairing of a duo. It's Devin Booker and the newly acquired Jalen Green for Kevin Durant. They both, play the same position. They're score first shooting guards. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to, work together and pair together. But we shall see how they do. The Portland Trail Blazers, I went with Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday. Of course, Damian Lillard is injured right now, but without considering injuries, Dame is still the best player on the Blazers. And then I went with Drew Holiday. I feel like these two would make an amazing pairing in the backcourt. Some people may make an argument over Drew, and if you would want to go with Denny, I don't really blame you. Drew did have a down season last year, while Denny had the complete opposite. He had an amazing season. So if you would want to go with Dame and Denny, I'm not opposed, but for now I went with Dame and Drew. The Sacramento Kings, I went with Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis. Zach LaVine, I would say, had a pretty underrated season last year, shooting amazing efficiency from three. And then of course I went Domantas Sabonis, the triple-double machine. Some people could say DeMar DeRozan, but I feel like right now LaVine is the better player, and of course Sabonis being the best player on the Kings. The San Antonio Spurs, I got Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. They're going to the season for the first time, having the chance to play the whole entire season, but of course Fox being traded last year at the trade deadline, and then Wemby missing the rest of the season, Fox missing the rest of the season. So they'll go into the season looking to make the playoffs for the first time for the Spurs. The Toronto Raptors, I went with Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram. So Scottie Barnes, he's had a down year, then a good year, then a down year. So Scottie Barnes has been up and down. And of course, Brandon Ingram, all-star player. He's been pretty consistent ever since he got traded to the Pelicans. And next season, he's going to make his debut for the Raptors. Some people could argue RJ Barrett over either one of them. And RJ Barrett had a really good season, in my opinion, very underrated. If some people were to say RJ Barrett, I really wouldn't be opposed. But for now, I went with Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram. The Utah Jazz, I went with Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. I went with the front court. The Utah Jazz are still a very young team. They have a lot of pieces on their team, a lot of young pieces, even a lot of older pieces. And I guess they're still going through the rebuilding phase, trying to figure out who stays and who goes. But Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler are definitely the best players on the Jazz. The Washington Wizards, I went with CJ McCollum and Alex Sarr. CJ McCollum just recently traded to the Wizards. 20 PPG scorer, always a near all-star player, with Alex Sarr going into his second season. I think Alex Sarr is going to have an amazing season with CJ McCollum being his usual consistent self 20 PPG scorer, amazing efficiency. I guess the player you could have possibly won with was Chris Middleton over, I don't know, CJ or Alex Sarr, but Chris Middleton, he's 34 and going through a lot of injury problems, so I would still give the edge to CJ and Alex Sarr being the best duo on the Washington Wizards. So that's all for this video. That's, in my opinion, the best duo for every NBA team. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with my picks in the comments below.